Okay, so in this whole wild and wacky process we call awakening, there are so many twists and turns and ups and downs and contractions and expansions. Anybody who's been in this game a little while knows this. There are times of like complete disillusionment, times of massive frustration, disorientation, confusion, times of elation, ecstasy, mystical states, like all kinds of crazy, wild experiences, right? But one overarching, I would say, experience that's quite common at various stages, particularly later on, is the feeling of letting go. A lot of grief, a lot of something falling away. Call it identity, call it self, call it illusion, but something's falling away, and a lot of something. Even this comes in phases. There are times when it feels like there's just presence. There's no coming or going. Things are clear. Things are peaceful, spontaneous. But there are other times when it feels like something's just being stripped away or dissolving. So what I really wanted to say here is that it's okay. Whatever it feels like is going away, whatever it feels like is being stripped away, it's only an illusion. The only thing that's going to go is illusion. The only thing that's going to go is delusion. So while it feels at times like a whole lot is being lost, nothing's being lost. There's nothing you can lose. To even say you can lose yourself doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Because the self we talk about, the self we seem to reference, you'll never find it. It was never there. There was nothing there. Experience, sure. Presence, sure. Appearances, sure. However you want to talk about that. But division, boundaries, something that's permanent, something that's impermanent, something that's a thing, anything apart, anything inside or outside. All of this is ultimately conceptual. It doesn't exist and it never did. With this, we see also that the future doesn't exist. Not in the way that we think about it, not in the way that we anchor our sense of self, our sense of control. It's just not there. So what we see is that we ultimately are letting go of a lot of promises. The ego, to personify a mental process or a collection of processes, it's a promise maker. Tells you, oh, when that finally happens, then I'll be satisfied. When I finally get this, I'll be happy. When that person starts finally treating me the right way, then I'll be satisfied. When my health is better, I'll finally be relaxed or happy. When I get that promotion, raise, money, next hit, next drink. When I graduate. When I retire. When I find the perfect partner. Right? Always, always, always later, later, later. So when we see that game and we realize it's a game of the mind, it never delivers. Promises endlessly, never delivers. Why would we not want to let that go? It's a fool's game. It's a game we never win. But it makes us feel bad. But it also sort of makes us feel good in a certain way, right? That's the slinky, right? One end, then the other end, then the other end, on and on and on. Seeking disillusionment, seeking disillusionment, seeking disillusionment. At some point you just realize it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't bring satisfaction. It doesn't bring deep satisfaction. And as you start on this path and things start to open up, you get tastes of what true satisfaction is. It's a kind of satisfaction that's non-conditional. It's not based on any condition. You could say perhaps it's based on the condition of presence, unfiltered experience, unfiltered reality, the unconditioned. That it's intrinsically right in some way. It's intrinsically settled. You taste that, you know that. And then you realize everything else, at least everything in the mind, all that mental activity is unnecessary. Doesn't have to be there. Doesn't have to be there. And you also kind of see how the sense of you being the agent, being the doer, perpetuates it. Just seeing that clearly, it can slow down and then it can stop. And then you find the place where nothing is lost and nothing is gained. Nothing comes into being, nothing goes out of being. Things are fine just how they are. Things are just how they are. They don't need to be changed. You don't need to anchor yourself to some future, even 5 minutes into the future. You can live completely free of binding to time. You can live completely free of binding to space, division, distance, self and other. These just aren't necessary, it turns out, at all. So in the end, nothing is lost. And really, everything is gained. But there's no way to collect it. There's no collector. There's nowhere to store everything. You just have to die into it again and again and again. Let it overtake you again and again and again. And it turns out to be just fine.